Hello everyone. You are getting a very different version of me than you've ever gotten before. Um, I will explain. Firstly, let me just apologize that I sound like this. Um, the video that is going live today of me doing my makeup with the Twilight palette, technically I'm making that the first day of Vlogmas and it's going up on the second day of December. I got sick. Like right after filming that video, I actually went to go work on some art. And by the time I was done with that art piece, I have no idea how many hours I was immersed in that. But next thing I know, my art is finished and I'm looking up and I'm like, damn, I feel like shit. I've had a really bad like sinus infection, cold, something for the last well, today's Tuesday, so Saturday, Sunday, Monday. We're going on the fourth day. I do feel better today though. Um I say that as I cough. But let me explain. Today is a snow day where I live. I got up at like 5:30 this morning, started getting ready for work, and then my best friend texted, or not my best friend, but one of my little besties at my job. Um, she texted me and she's like, bro, be careful when you come to work because I live 30 minutes from where I work. And I also drive a sports car year round. Snow or not, I'm out here in my rear wheel drive sports car. I don't give a fuck. Um, I have trust and faith in her. She's a fucking beast. So like we've never had an issue. But anyway, so she texted me, she's like, bro, the roads are so bad, we got so much snow last night, be careful. And then literally like as we're texting, she's like, ooh, I just heard from management that they're about to call us off. And then they called us off. They said, stay home, go build snowmen. So I'm at home today. I'm like, perfect. I'm behind in filming if I want to be able to do Vlogmas, so this is perfect. Also, this is not real Starbucks. I made my coffee at home today, but I put it in my red cup because there is a story behind this red cup. But today what we're going to be doing, a lot of what we're going to be doing during Vlogmas is literally just chit-chatting while I do my makeup. So I'm actually going to get started with some makeup while I tell the tale of that freaking cup. So today, real quick, before I tell the tale of my cup, today I want to use my Pan That palette for 2025. I don't think I'm going to be able to finish it. I did this over on Instagram, where I did monthly updates for my Pan That palette, except towards the end of the year I kind of stopped, because I stopped using it, to be honest. My Pan That palette is Anastasia Artist Palette, which is 5 million years old, hence why I'm trying to pan it up and get it out. I literally only have 2 shades left, but because it's December, we're going to do this blue color, and then I have this beautiful icy color I want on my lid. But I did not bring a transition shade, so we're kind of just going to go like a 2 shadow look. This damn red cup. Me and this damn red cup. So I'm not a big Starbucks girly. Do I go there sometimes? Yes. My best friend, well, 2 of my best friends are both bigger Starbucks fans than I am. My go-to is Dunkin', I'm not gonna lie. I love Dunkin'. Unfortunately, we don't have one in my city, which is so weird because I'm in such a big city, but whatever. Yeah. So I'm not a huge Starbucks fan, but I do like it. And one of my best friends, she is literally obsessed with Starbucks. So, she'd be sending me, anytime she tries a new drink, she'd be sending me her order, and then, like, anytime I get Starbucks, I'm like, I'll take a picture of my cup and send it to her and be like, oh, I thought of you. And I think through these interactions, she just started associating me with, like, oh, Madison loves Starbucks. Madison does not love Starbucks, but I love you, babe. So, like, we'll roll with it. So they did this red cup day. For anybody who doesn't know, I feel like the whole world knows, but for anybody who doesn't know, there's a day in November where if you go and order a holiday drink, I think it's the same rules every year. We're going to roll with it because that's the rules this year. If you go and order any holiday drink and they still have, it's while supplies last, first come, first serve, you will get this free reusable plastic cup. Well, little crazy cuckoo bestie, if you're watching this, I fucking love you. She texted me at like 5 in the morning, like blowing me up on a work morning. And I'm like, bro, what the hell is happening? So, you know, I check my phone and lo and behold, it's my girl talking about, go get your red cup. You gotta go get your red cup. And I'm like, girl, it's too early for this. What are you talking about? And she's like, Starbucks, red cup, go get it now. So I'm like, I'm not even thinking because like I'm half asleep. I just have somebody telling me to get up and go do something. So half asleep, I'm like, okay, yeah, let me go do that. So I roll out of bed, I throw some clothes on. I don't even do my makeup or anything like that. Like I literally just brush my teeth, throw clothes on, grab my work stuff, and head out. Like I'm not even awake. And so then I go out to the garage. We have a giant ass parking garage for my building. Because of how massive my building is, our garage also has to be massive. And it's made with, you know, like any parking garage, they have those big ass barriers to structurally sound the building, to hold the building up. Well, you know, I'm still asleep, mind you. I take, in a normal morning, I take about 30 minutes to slowly get ready so I can wake up. And I start drinking my energy drink or my coffee, whatever one I'm having that day, before I head out the door. That way, when I get in my car and I start my baby, my pride and joy, the love of my life, my favorite materialistic thing in this entire universe, I'm awake and ready to drive her. However, this morning, I'm just thinking about somebody's telling me to go do something and I'm half asleep. I gotta go do it. So what do? I back out of my parking spot. I get real close to the barrier. So that way, when I pull out, my entire, like starting in the middle of the back end of my car, all the way to my wheel well, just, you hear the most awful noise. I scraped the out of my car so bad for this damn red cup. And so I don't even get out of the car, mind you. I just peel out. I'm like, I'm on a mission. I have to get there. I'm still asleep. Let me get there. I drive 30 minutes to the Starbucks by my work before I park, and I get out. And I was so fucking upset. And so I fucked up my car just to go get a free red cup. I remember that weekend I had to go pick up my other best friend. And she comes out because I'm picking her up in my car. She comes out, she looks at my car. She had heard the story because she worked with me at the time. She had heard the story when I got to work that morning. But she hadn't really seen it until I pull up at her house. And she looks at the car, and she looks at me, and she looks at the car, and she's like, where's the red cup? And I was like, I point to my passenger side floorboard because, bitch, I got my drink and I got this red cup and I threw this on the passenger seat floorboard. I didn't even want to look at it. I was so salty and I was so upset about my car. I said, I don't even want to look at it. So she's like, where's the damn red cup? So I was like, I point to it, and she gets in the car because we're about to drive. We're about to leave. And she looks at it, and then she looks at me. And then she looks at it, and she's like, was this really worth damaging your car for? And I said, fuck no, it wasn't. No. Girl, no. Because now I gotta go pay $600 to get my car paint fixed. Luckily, there was like no major damage, but I do have to pay money to go get it fixed, and I'm not happy about it. But we're gonna wait until after winter because obvious reasons. You don't get really, I mean, some people would go get their car painted in the winter. Some shops have heat, but like I'm just not. Plus, it's my only car at the moment, so like I don't want to be without her in the winter. No, thank you. But anyways, there's my long-winded Starbucks story. Yeah. And then there's no way to segue into the next story. I was literally just going to talk about my palette. Um, this palette is 5 million years old, and I'm surprised it still performs so well, but I'm trying to get it out of my collection. So I literally have, you know, the 2 shades left. And I'll be honest with you, I'm not going to use that yellow for the rest of this year. I'm not. We're in winter, and I do coordinate a lot of my makeup color choices to the season. Like, I would have smashed that yellow during the fall if I would have thought about it. But during the fall, I was so focused on using other things that I just didn't think about it. So here we are. And I'm going to end the year with my palette not being done. But I think I'm going to carry it into 2026 and just finish it off. I have my palette. I have my next palette. I've already picked out 2026's palette, but I am going to make myself use that first. I'm literally taking this color on my finger because it works so much better on my finger than on a brush. And I really want it to look cute. This is the, ooh. She's also old, but she's beautiful. This is the Sugar Pill. I love this palette. The Sugar Pill Edward Scissorhands collab. Listen, I love Tim Burton. I love anything Tim Burton, but I also love Edward Scissorhands. If you ask anybody their favorite Tim Burton film, it's gonna be Nightmare Before Christmas, which I'm not a hater. Listen, you know how many Nightmare Before Christmas ornaments I have to put on my tree? Y'all know that well, you can't see it, but like I have Nightmare Before Christmas tattoos like on my body. I love Nightmare, but it is so overrated. Sorry, I said it. It's so overrated. Like, where's the love for Edward Scissorhands? Where's the love for Sleepy Hollow? That's where it's at. Okay, I don't care. I will fight somebody. No, that's a little crazy, but I remember when this palette released and I missed it, and I was so upset. And for, maybe I'm being dramatic, but from my memory, I want to say for years, again, maybe I'm being dramatic, maybe it was a year or 2 years, but I remember for years I was stalking like reseller sites trying to get my hands on this palette, and nobody was selling theirs. And then finally, when I had to move back home to my family's house, I was like laying in bed one night and just scrolling the internet as you do when you're bored in your family's house, and lo and behold, some girl was selling it for like 20 bucks, and I was like, excuse me, that's mine. So I snatched it. Have I used it very much? No, I've used it like twice, but I'm so happy I have it. Also, can we talk about how many things I got wrong in my last video? Literally, they weren't even, some of them were factual, but like, I get nervous when I film for YouTube. This is so stupid, but I get so nervous. So sometimes that ends up looking like word vomit, and I can't get my thoughts together or properly out. And so like, in the last video, I was talking about this makeup collection I remember buying as a teenager. I was like 17 and I was home for the holidays, and it was my favorite, most memorable holiday season for the littlest reasons. But I'm talking about this MAC collab, and I was like, yeah, it was like this kind of native themed, and they got so much hate for it, blah blah blah. And then after that, I was watching it back and I realized I was completely mixing up the MAC Vibe Tribe collection with the collection that ColourPop tried to release for Native. The ColourPop one was where they got comments about how the company ColourPop was so racist because they had a palette that was like Native inspired, Native themed, and a lot of the names of the shades were honestly racist and hurtful, and it was like Trails of Tears kind of stuff. And it was again, if you haven't watched my last video, let me just reiterate, I am Native American, and mostly Native American. And I grew up with a family who was so in our roots. My great grandma lived on a reservation, actually. And so, you know, like, I have room to speak on the fact that, yeah, actually, if you look at that collab, it was fucking hurtful. It didn't do anything to, you know, give our people recognition or put a spotlight on our community. All it did was hurt our people. Like, it was offensive. So, but I confused those two. So the Vibe Tribe collection had nothing to do with that. However, speaking of the Vibe Tribe collection, I did go the other night. Was it the night after I filmed that video? I can't remember. I actually went on Mercari. Went down a rabbit hole to see what pieces of that collection I could buy back, because here's the thing, I talk in my last video about how I remember ordering pieces of that collection and, you know, whatever, and then flash forward, where is it? I have the one blush and I love it. It's Painted Canyon from that collection and I love it. I'm wearing it. But in my head I'm like, I know I had at some point more of that collection. Where the hell is it? So I look back, I get into my old email account that I had when I was a teenager, and I look back at all my MAC receipts, and I find out that not only had I bought the one blush that I still have in my beauty room, I had also bought a second blush from that collection. I bought a eyeshadow quad. I bought a cream color base. I bought, what else was it? I bought a bronzer. Like, I bought probably 5 or 6 pieces of that collection, and I'm like, where the hell are they? And then I remembered, when I was like 17, 18, my favorite thing to do, God only knows why, my favorite thing to do was buy makeup collections, use them a time or two, and then sell them on Poshmark because they were taking up space and I don't see myself using them. But then, fast forward a month later, I would spend thousands of dollars on makeup again because I'm like, ooh, I'm a makeup collector. But then 2 months later, I would sell half of that because I want to be a minimalist. Like, teenage me could not make up her mind, and it drives me crazy. It drives me absolutely nuts how many products I will like see on the internet, like posted like as flashbacks or whatever, and I'll be like, ooh, I have that, and then I'll remember, no, teenage me decluttered it because decluttering videos were a thing, and she wanted to be like that, and it drives me mad. I lost so many good items because I decluttered them because, oh, I'm not using them. You would have used them. You should have held on to them, but whatever, it's fine. It is what it is. But my whole point of that is I looked to see what I could get my little hands on, because ideally I understand that it's a almost 10-year-old collection, so the items are old. However, even if it's just for like collectors, I'm not gonna lie to you, I am going to use the products, but I'm buffering this with, even if it ends up being just like collector's items sitting in my house, I would like to buy back that collection. I'm not going to get my hands on every piece realistically, but I would like to get my hands on the pieces that I did have and that I remember wanting. So the other night when I was looking, I think I bought one of the bronzers for a ridiculous price. The girl had it for sale for $50, which is about, if I'm remembering correctly, that's about the retail price of a MAC bronzer. I don't buy from MAC anymore unless I buy secondhand. But she had it listed for $50, and I like saved it to my likes because I wasn't gonna like go all out and buy stuff this night. I didn't plan to, at least. And then she sent me a private offer of $15, and I said, I'll take that. So I did buy that, and I'm very excited. I know that the Arrowhead lipstick from that collection is going for upwards of $100, which hurts my heart because why are we charging $100. I understand you can't buy it anymore. They didn't re-release it with any other collections. I understand at this point it is a collector's item. I get that. However, there is not a high demand for that shade or for pieces of that collection. Why are we charging $100 for that lipstick? Why? It's ridiculous. Sorry. I had to concentrate for that. But I think I have 2 gifts I want to give myself this year for Christmas. Get myself, let me say. One is I would love to, I spoke in last video, sorry, again, reiterate, I'm still a little sick. I spoke in last video about how I want to get back into art because teenage me was so fucking happy when she was making art and being creative and doing her thing. And I think I have always been a creative person. The one thing I didn't include in like talking about those flashbacks and stuff was, you know, when I wasn't helping my mom cook or ordering makeup or doing art, I was also writing. I started a story, which in another video of Vlogmas, I'm going to completely go into this story that I created when I was literally during that holiday season. But I'm an avid writer. I still write 24/7 with any downtime. I am still writing something, whether it's a little short story or whether it's a poem or admittedly a fan based one shot or or like I create full like books. Do I publish them? No. But I do use Wattpad and Quotive, and I make entire worlds and entire characters, and I create, and it's my favorite thing ever. And I've done that since I was literally like 12. Obviously, they're better now than they were when I was 12. But around that time, I did not include it, but I do remember that story that I started, and it's stuck with me up until now, and I did lose it. I at the time wasn't posting anything publicly online. I was just writing it in like Word or whatever on my laptop, and my laptop did get ruined like the next summer after that. So I did lose that story, but it's never left my brain. I still remember the characters. Some bits and pieces I forget, but I remember the characters and the baseline and all these details that I ended up a couple years ago at this point currently. I did end up rewriting it. I'm not done with it at all. It's kind of like a thing where I'm taking my time with it. Whenever I feel inspired, whenever I feel like that version of me, then I start rewriting it. And it's been a fun little, like, what is that called? Passion project. But all that to say, um, with going back to the art and how happy that made me, writing still makes me happy, but I did that art piece Saturday night after I finished recording that video, and the way that made me feel inside was like, yeah, there's something right about this combo, about being in my space and having these feelings that feel like so familiar and like I'm home, and making art, this feels so true to me, and I finally feel home within myself. Like I finally feel like I think a lot of times off and on and throughout my life I've struggled with like not really knowing who I was and feeling like an imposter, and I know that's a whole syndrome thing. And but like when I do stuff like that, I feel so like this is right. This is meant, like this is who I am. So, one of the things I want to get myself for Christmas is I want to re-divulge into the art world. So I did go back to my family's house last night after work to grab my old book bag from when I was 17 because all my art supplies were in it. The coloring pencils, because I was always a pencil girly. I hated. Granted, when I made like 3D art and the masks and stuff that I made when I was in high school, that I used paint for, and I loved doing that. But if I'm talking about like drawing and creating art, I hated paint. I tried it a couple times. I hated it. I was a pencil girly. I think in my early 20s, I did, like, I would do these, like, little, I would create these little characters, and it would be, like, a very, like, portrait, like, wallet portrait size of scrap paper, that I would create these little characters, these little goofy, creepy, cool characters, and those I would do in marker. I remember doing those in marker. And when I first started doing, or in realizing, like, this is what I love, is to create, I was probably like 13, 12 or 13 when I started. So I would use crayons at first, but pencils became my big thing. So I think for Christmas, I want to get myself a new sketchbook. I'm gonna get the same one that I always used as a teenager if they still sell it. But I want to get myself a brand new sketchbook, and I want to get myself some pencils. Some nice colored pencils. And maybe just some really nice quality drawing, like graphite pencils. But I really, really, really want to do that. So I'm going to do it. That, and then the second thing I want to get myself for Christmas is the Vibe Tribe stuff. At least what I can get of it. Okay, we're back. Sorry, you guys. I don't know if you could tell towards the end of that, but I was like struggling to breathe. Like I couldn't breathe, let alone speak. So I had to take a minute, but I'm back. This illness has been kicking my ass. But anyways, I was saying, yeah, I want to get myself some art stuff for Christmas. And then I want to get myself some bits and bobs from the Vibe Tribe collection. And I'm not saying I want to be out here like buying the whole collection and tracking it all down. That's not what I'm doing. I have my eye on a couple of the pieces. I don't think anybody's going to care, but I'm going to kind of touch on them anyways. I really want to buy back the cream color base that came out of that collection. It was like a topaz color because I had that when I was a teenager and then I got rid of it. I want to get that. And then I remember when I had originally bought that collection as a teenager, I bought the pallet, the quad. There were 2 quads that you could have gotten, and for whatever reason, I picked, I think it was the Wild Horse quad. The one with, both quads were all neutrals, but they had 1 pop of color each. One palette had an orange. The one I bought, I believe, was called Wild Horses, and it had the pop of blue. This sounds so contradictory and juxtaposition because I'm literally doing my makeup in blue right now. But I don't wear blue. So that's why I decluttered that. So I want to buy the one that had the orange. So I want to get the cream color base. I want to get both bronzers. I want to get, yeah, the palette. If I could get some of the brushes, that would be great. I've never had a MAC brush. I thought they were overrated, and I always went for the Kat Von D brushes. If I was spending my money on expensive brushes, I was going Kat Von D or Anastasia. But yeah, I definitely want to get just some pieces of it. Honestly, right now I'm not looking to collect the whole thing. I'm not looking to get the lipsticks because of how many lipsticks I have. But I want to get bits and bobs of it. So I think that's all I want for Christmas. And I'm going to get it, for myself. Because as I kind of touched in the last video, I am not a gift kind of person. Okay, I appreciate a gift. I think it's very sweet when people buy me a gift. But I'm not... It also makes me feel very awkward when people buy me things. So I'm not asking anybody to buy me the things I want. I'm just gonna go buy them myself. What else did I get wrong in that video? Because I remember watching it through and I was like, that's wrong, that's wrong, that's wrong. Girl, you're talking actual ass. I don't think I explained the whole, like... I don't think I explained a lot of things that well because like I jumped from, because I'm so nervous when I film. I'm trying to get better about it. But I jumped from like topic to topic. Like in the beginning of that video, I'm talking about like, oh, I'm using the Twilight palette for nostalgia. And then I start talking about how I had an obsession with the Four Corners and like New Mexico, Colorado, Arizona. And then I segue into listening to my Pacific Northwest playlist. And as I'm sitting here rewatching this video, I'm like, bitch, you're making no sense right now. You're making no sense. The Pacific Northwest is far from the Four Corners. What are you? You're not explaining things. Which I don't think anybody's gonna watch this and then go back, but I will quickly explain that, like, the whole thing with the Pacific Northwest was I had an obsession with, around the same time that I was obsessed with the Four Corners and the tribes in it and learning more about that culture, I was also obsessed with Oregon. That's where the Pacific Northwest playlist ties in at. It is it is a playlist created of songs that give me the inner feeling of, it's so hard to put into words. That's why music is so beautiful. Like, I know the feeling it gives me. Can I put that into words? Not exactly. But, okay, imagine this. This is the best way we can do this. Imagine this. It is the end of fall. You are in Oregon. Brookings, Oregon, where there is a shoreline and all these little cliffs and rocks and a beautiful little sea. And then surrounded behind you, you've got nothing but pine trees. And it's a little bit foggy and it's misting outside and it's like in the 60s, maybe high 50s. And you're wearing a sweater with a beanie and a pair of jeans and a pair of Uggs or some kind of boot. And maybe you've got a coffee in hand because you stopped at the cafe downtown. And you're warm and you're snuggly and you're comfy. And then you hear like The Neighborhood playing and Alt J playing and I can't even think of all the bands that are in that, but they all give this same feeling that like is so, maybe it's just me, maybe it's just nostalgia, but like, I don't know, there's something so right about that. So I've been listening to that because that playlist makes me feel like I'm home every time I listen to it, which is funny because Oregon is not my home. Maybe it's my home away from home, but like I've always stayed to this half, the eastern half of the states. I was never a West Coast girl, so, but you know, that changed my life. So I was obsessed with Oregon and that Pacific Northwest playlist and just the vibes it gave me and the feelings it gave me. And so I mentioned that I've been listening to that a lot because, again, it takes me back to that exact time in my life when I was 17 and everything felt like it was going to be okay and everything felt right. And I ordered the biggest pack of Crayola brand coloring pencils because I wanted to get a little bit more serious into art. And then I went down the YouTube rabbit hole and found out like there's actual premium art brands. So then I used my Crayola for literally that season, and then I was like upgrading. And it's just that time in my life was the best time of my life, and for whatever reason that feeling that I had back then is stuck with me this year right now. And I am loving every second of it, and I'm holding on, and I've got it in a death grip, and I do not want to let it go because it's made me feel alive again. That sounds so strange, but it really has made me feel alive again in a way that I didn't realize that I was missing. And so we're gonna roll with it. as I hate to use this next sentence, but as my therapist would say, you got to take these moments and you got to write them out for as long as you can keep them. And that's exactly what I'm doing, because I don't want to let this go. I've been so fucking happy, and I don't know what it is, but I love it. I went back home. It's not my home, but whatever. My family's house last night, like I just quickly kind of mentioned, to grab my art stuff. And I have not looked through it. My old sketchbooks and stuff are in there. I have not looked through them yet, but I did bring it home, and I'm so excited to open that, and I'm so excited to do more art, and I'm so excited this weekend maybe to go to the store and pick up some more art stuff, because I want that version of me to be alive again, because I think she would do so well in this world. And I know it might be a little cringy to be referring to myself in third person, but I think everybody understands that, like, past versions of you are almost different people. So when I say her, I mean it's a past version of myself. I'm no longer her, although I feel like her right now this season. I don't know. It's funny because this snow day that I've been given off of work is almost making me feel even more like her, because like she was on holiday at the best time of her life. Like, there was no school. I was called off of school because it was a holiday break. So I got the call off today, and I was like, she's back, babe. So it's funny because I went on, y'all are gonna laugh, and I don't even care. I went on Neopets this morning. I hacked into my old Neopets account. And I played that for a little bit because the advent calendar is up, and this was always, like, as a kid and a teenager, this was my favorite time to be on Neopets. Like, who doesn't love free stuff every day? So I played that this morning for a little bit, but honestly, it's changed so much that, number one, it's really hard to play on mobile. It used to not be so hard, but now it's really hard with all the ads. And number two, unless you're paying for premium, it's really kind of boring. And I refuse to pay for premium only because I know I won't stick on the site. Like, I'll get on it for, like, 3 days. This month, realistically, with it being Advent season, I'm probably going to log on every day. However, am I going to sit there and play every day? No. I'm going to get on, get my free shit. Some days I'll be on there for like an hour or two, I think. But, like, I'm not going to play enough to justify spending real life money on it in, like, virtual game. Like, my video games that I play, like on PlayStation and stuff, sometimes I can justify, like, battle passes or in-game currency for some of my games and stuff a little bit more just because I play it more. But, like, a site like Neopets, I really can't justify spending my real life money. Maybe if I was really the 19-year-old, if I really was the 17-year-old version of me again, and I lived at home again and had no bills to pay, then we'd talk. But right now, I'm in the real world, and I have a job, and I have bills to pay. Like, my mom is not putting this roof over my head. My mom is watching over this roof over my head from up in heaven, but she ain't paying my bills no more. I'm grown. You know what I mean? I ain't got the money. I mean, I do, but it's not smart to be spending it on something like Neopets. You know what I mean? If I was as rich as some of these people out here, maybe, but, like, we looking rough. That's just not my life. I knew I brought a hairband. So, I kind of want to take just a moment here to, because we're going to start to end this video. And I just want to kind of touch on what Vlogmas for my channel is going to look like, if anybody would like to stick around for it. It's oftentimes going to look like exactly what we just did. I plan a lot of the Vlogmas episodes. I know it's Vlogmas, but I plan them to just be chit chatting while I do my makeup um, pretty often. And, you know, there are going to be some episodes where we actually like do things around my house and hang out and whatnot. But, like, for the most part, what you see is what you get, babe. Like, this is gonna be Vlogmas for me. I don't know if I like the headband on better or not. These braids, I slipped on them, but I'm not ready to take them out because I'm not going anywhere today. So I kind of just want to leave them in. I oiled my hair last night, so I'd like to just leave them in to give my hair even more time to chill. But anyways, that was a tangent away from what we were talking about. Um yeah, a lot of the episodes of Vlogmas are literally going to be this, us doing makeup and chit chatting, and you're gonna hear a lot about my teenage years and the things that make me happy. Um, there are a lot of things that I could talk about that's going on in the current world, but honestly, I'm trying to ride this high of being happy, and the world is not a great place right now. It's not terrible, it's not awful. You can find beauty in anything, you just have to look at it in the right angle. But I understand that also YouTube is 9 times out of 10 people's way to escape the real world. So why would I want to talk about the real world? So, um, yeah, I'm mostly gonna just be talking about, you know, teenage me, things that made me happy, past holidays, you know, maybe cute little stories here and there. But all that while I do my makeup. And also, I am gonna have like actual like vlog episodes. We're gonna do some shit. Like today, you're probably gonna see this makeup, this hair, this outfit in tomorrow's episode too, because after I end this one, I'm literally about to go film me cleaning my house and whatever I'm doing today. We might go through my art stuff together. Like, I think that could be a cool video. But for the most part, you're just gonna come hang out with me and we're literally just gonna chit chat, and that's gonna be Vlogmas over here. Also, it's not gonna be every day of December. I don't think I'll be able to keep up with that. I'm gonna aim for like at least 2 to 3 episodes a week. If I can do more, I will. And I might even fall short of that, but I'm aiming for 2 to 3 episodes a week. So, if you made it this far, I thank you for making it this far and listening to me yap. If you would like to, you know, stick with us through Vlogmas this year, feel free. And I will see you all in the next video. Thank you.